I like doing it.
Yeah, okay.
Fun.
Cool.
But
Cool.
I haven't been doing as much. I like spending a lot of time doing it, and then I don't know, just didn't get the response that I was looking for. So I was like,
Interesting.
but I still like doing it.
It's an interesting time because I feel like now the videos may be the preferred method of content consumption, especially with our audience, with Big Bass Streams, right? But anyways, welcome everybody. It's your boy. Cheers. Oliver and I here with the BBD podcast episode, I don't even know. But we've got a special guest here in the house, my man Parker Wright. Let me introduce you guys to this man here. He's a Southern California native, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Parker.
So I grew up in Southern California. Started fishing when I was pretty young. My dad got me into it, and I grew up like 2 minutes away from a lake, little lake, Laguna Niguel Lake.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I've bass fished there before.
Yeah, and they have rental boats when I grew up, and
No private boats. This is little.
yeah, like tiny. But you could rent a boat and you could fish from the shore, and I could ride my bike there.
I used to like fishing at Little Creek.
Yeah, creek's badass. Yeah,
Flip and fish little Texas Fur
Yeah.
crabs in there.
it's like perfect distance. So it's like you can flip to the other side of it. So it's
Tequila Sunrise
Yeah.
is the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like back then.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that. Okay.
Tequila Sunrise. Yeah, no, that was margarita mutilator back in the day.
So anything purple,
Yeah.
dark,
Yeah.
dirty
Black
water
grape.
from whatever.
Black grape.
Black grape.
Yeah.
Now, these kids don't know anything about black grape. These
Black
days,
grape.
man.
That was like cloudy days. Black grape.
Yeah.
Or.
But Parker and I are actually in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport right now. We are en route to the Bassmaster Classic here in 2020, being held once again in Birmingham, Alabama. So this is my second time going to a classic event in Birmingham. We both jumped on the same flight this morning out of Orange County, California. We're both going to support the Megabass team and man the Megabass booth throughout the weekend. So hopefully we get to see as many of you guys as possible. But you know, this is actually the first time I've actually had a chance to sit down and just talk fishing with my man Parker here.
yeah.
And I thought it'd be a really unique opportunity to share some of these organic, real conversations that I have with so many amazing anglers throughout my travels. Right, and I think that's what makes the BBD podcast different, because you were just asking me about, hey, have you done this podcast or have you done that podcast? And frankly, I really haven't had any time to contribute to other people's platforms, especially when from the gist of it, those platforms aren't being hosted by like-minded individuals. Because at the end of the day, I know you're a fisherman.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So I want to talk to you, but I want to hear two fishermen talking. I don't want to hear a journalist. I don't want to hear a fan. And nothing against that. Like, there's people that want to digest that information and that content. But like, dude, like, I'm a basketball fan, right? I want to hear two NBA players, former or current or whatever, and watch that dynamic unfold instead of like even a Stephen A. Smith or a Max Kellerman or whoever, like insert sports, journalist.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different dynamic that you get and different interaction versus if you get like some of these NBA podcasts where like it's old hoopers, it's current hoopers, and like, dude, like they're just being like basketball fanatics, right? And I think that's kind of missing in fishing. I was actually just texting back and forth with Mr. Mike Iaconelli. Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of him before? All right. And he extended an offer to come on his podcast. Well, I'm drawn to that more because I would like to engage with him on a fishing level and compare and contrast some experiences. So hopefully you guys find a similar value. And once again, I'm not throwing shade at nobody. Like, man, fishing is such a weird thing. It's become so cliquey. So hey, if you don't mess with me, you're against me. And it's like, man, it's not even like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same way.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
Because you're from a similar part of the country, the same part of the country as I am. And I don't see it in any other fishing culture. I didn't really see it in Texas. I didn't really see it in the Northeast. I didn't see it in the Midwest. I don't see it in Canada. I don't see it in Australia. A little bit maybe in Europe. But for the most part, man, like Southern California is just a really sensitive region in the world for fishing, man. Sensitive. It blows my mind. So anyways, I want to give people an opportunity that aren't from California to see a unique perspective, and people that are from California a perspective that, like, man, there's more to this game than, I guess, what, pyramid to Otai, right? That's kind of the gamut, right, regionally. And yeah, we were just starting to talk about a bunch of things, man, and you are an avid bass fisherman. You've caught some of the best largemouth that I've seen the last couple seasons, man. Like, there's a consistency to you. So, like, kudos to you, because at the end of the day, I feel like context matters, all right? Oh, in Texas, when you toast somebody, you gotta hit the table and then have a drink.
All right.
And we don't do the straws typically, right? Opening it up for hepatitis, but whatever. We're not soft. We're not scared of coronavirus, so. Where was I?
We're talking about big bass.
So Parker's
Megabass.
really nice Megabass out of Southern California lakes, and this is something I talk about with people throughout my travels. Like, people assume that California is so much easier because they see such a number of really big fish coming out of there. What they don't see is how many anglers are trying to catch those fish. And if you go by ratio, like, how few of those fish are being caught consistently. Our lakes, ponds in other parts of the country are tiny. We've got high density populations. They see a lot of pressure. They are not easy to catch. It's funny, there's one guy that keeps throwing it out there, and actually, you know, one of my guys, Dave Hammer, he's from North Carolina, came out to the West Coast. Dude, it's fishing. Still things happen, and I'm not taking anything away from Dave. Big shout out to Dave. We caught like an 11, like right out the bat. And then it's like that one instance has become like this validation that California is so easy. Like, they just jump in the boat. Like, look, Dave just showed up, because Dave is already an accomplished fisherman, number one. Catches, you know, big fish on his home waters on the East Coast, and applied his knowledge, and was in the right place in the right time and executed on his opportunity. So bravo. But, like, I would love to see somebody else come and duplicate that, because it just
take 10 years.
It doesn't happen, man. We both know some incredibly fishy dudes that have fished Southern California for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, their whole lifespan, still don't have a double digit.
Totally.
Like, dude, it's not easy.
Yeah, no.
So the context of what you've been doing, especially as I'm, like, away from home and seeing, like, damn, our guy, like, another good one, 8-pounder, 9-pounders, right? In a time when, like, trophy fishing is kind of taking a hit. So cheers to you, man.
Thanks, man.
Because I understand what it takes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I grew up on those lakes, and it's tough.
It's tiring. It's tiring, for sure.
What would you say your biggest advantage is against everybody else that's not doing that? Like, what's your number one focus?
It's hard to say. I think I don't know. That's kind of hard.
Is it tackle based? Is it like a certain rod you're fishing, a magic bait, or is it like?
No, it's definitely not a magic bait.
Or is it up here?
I think
Is it in here?
Yeah, it's more of like a gut thing that happens, and it's like knowing when to, like, turn around and just be like, okay, no, I need to do this. Knowing when to stop on a spot and when not to stop on a spot, and that's just kind of like that type of thing. Because it's like, it's not. Like you said, our lakes are tiny. There's no secret spot. Everybody sees, you can see the bass right there. It's just whether you can catch it or not, you know? So it's just, and it's not always new stuff too that gets them. You can cycle through old techniques that, like, people have, like, forgot about. And
Black grape, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It comes back, and, like, nobody throws it anymore, so I'll try it, and then, what do you know? You catch a big one on it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes its time too, though. You got to put in the time to get the reward.
So you're saying it comes down to experience?
Yeah, and then it's like it comes down to not just, you have to know everything about it before you can master it. So you have to know the little things and like the little details that matter more than just like the big, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you have to catch small fish to catch big fish.
You know, it's funny, I get a lot of flack from like the know-it-alls on the internet, and like really they're nobodies. But like still like they'll make comments, like they'll see a photo or a video of me like on a seminar tank talking about trophy fishing with a spinning rod in my hands. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'm sure these guys learned a ton with this moron holding a spinning rod talking about trophy bass fishing, and it's just like, bro, hold on, let me see what's your body of work look like?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to compare and contrast. And people have this crazy perception that like, because you fish one way, it makes you terrible at something else.
Totally.
Like the whole fairy wand thing, and like a point that I make sometimes, like, bro, like when has fishing ever been masculine, let alone like feminine or, you know, demasculized?
See, that's where they're limiting themselves.
Absolutely. All for what? In the fear that a fellow fisherman's gonna bust their balls? Like how sensitive and soft are you guys? Like, damn, you fools are soft. Like, don't listen to those guys, please. Like, embrace it all. It's all fishing. At the end of the day, none of these people at the bar give a flying that we fish, that we catch these, like, all right, cool, weird young fishermen. Like, it's strange that people limit themselves so much in what we do. But yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta catch fish.
You gotta catch fish. You gotta start somewhere, and you gotta learn all those things about fishing, not just like, I don't know, not a specific lure. It's like fishing, catching fish. And then you get more in tune with the fish, and then you can figure out how to catch the big ones easier.
Man. Well, one of the first things I like asking people on this podcast specifically is, tell me about the time that the one got away. And I think you might have alluded to a little bit of it earlier over lunch.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so mad. I was gonna throw this podcast up while we were eating barbecue. This is Parker's first time having like Texas style brisket. But man, I was hungry. We just came off of that. By the way, he
ordered like 10 pounds.
Dude, I didn't eat breakfast, man. It's Texas brisket. You gotta get some. And man, we blew it because this poor lady was busting ass trying to catch her flight. And if I had done what I wanted to do, went with my gut feeling, right, just like in fishing, we would have captured the most epic wipeout. Like, dude, she ate shit. Like, it was badly. Everybody was just like, instead of like pointing and laughing, it was like legit concern. Like, damn, you just busted your ass. But anyway, going back to that, tell me about the one that got away, man. Dude, get deep. Like, put yourself back in that moment.
So I had been fishing. I don't want to blow up your spot, but I'd been fishing this lake. And
Secret spot number
37, Lake X. And I've been shore fishing it consistently. And I was on a bite, like on a swim bait bite. And they're biting a glide bait like good. They're not big, but it was fun. And you get like multiple chances a day. And like some of them we wolf packs, and they're coming after it. And so I'm like, keep going back. And because every once in a while I'd see a big one, like 8-pounder, 9-pounder, 10-pounder.
That's a big one on that lake.
Yeah. And I'd be like, dude, I want to catch that one. But I couldn't get him. Like I was like, kept going back. And so I'm fishing from the shore and crawling through trees and doing whatever you have to do, because like you never know where they're going to be. Like at one point there was a big one underneath the tree, so I was like underneath the tree going like yo-yoing it. Pitching a slide swimmer. Yeah. And so it's an afternoon, and we go. I'm by myself, and there's like a floating dock, and it's a good cast distance away. Like you have to like wing that thing out there to get it past it. So I wing it past it, strip out some line, and I sink it out. Like it's probably like 20 feet deep, or 15 around there. Sink it out like 3/4 of the way to the bottom. And I'm like, I know there's a bass underneath that dock. There has to be. Like, there's not a lot of like floating structure in that lake, so that one single dock, like, there's a good chance there's going to be a bass there. And I was fishing in my boat too, and I was noticing that like on the way when you're winding a bait back up, as it changes direction, the bass is following it, and like it triggers them to want to commit to it because it's like, oh, it's going to get away, like here it goes. But when you do it right next to the boat, all of a sudden it comes up next to the boat and, oh, here you are. Like, yeah. So I'm like, what if you do that multiple times throughout your retrieve? Like far away from the boat, get your lure to come up. So you're getting that trigger bite like away, but he doesn't see the boat when he comes up to it. So I cast out past the dock, winding it, and I'm like, okay, there's one on it now. There's got to be. So I start working this slide swimmer, and it's going up, and I'm like, all right, I'm going crazy, dude. Like, there's got to be one, and I pause it, and it just.
So you're visualizing.
I'm visualizing, okay. Yeah. I'm visualizing.
With your bait.
Yeah.
Whether or not you know there's one there or not.
Exactly. Yeah. It's way the hell out there. And I'm like, if there is one, he's on it, and like he's excited, and it's going up, and right about when it gets like a foot underneath the surface, I do like the last pause. MRO just loads up, and I'm like, oh God. And I swing, instantly put the rod down, the bait, like, the fish comes up, and it can't even jump, like that's how big it is, you know. And it's proper.
Yeah.
Like they can't get half their body out of the water, and it just goes, goo, goo. I see this head, and the bait just goes, goo. And I literally fell to the ground, like on my back, and like just laid there for like 10 minutes. Because
that's brutal.
In my mind at the time, I thought it was, I mean, it's hard to say, but I thought it was huge. Not like giant, but like over 10 pounds. Over 10 pounds. Between 10 and 12? Between 6 and 12 pounds.
No, he's telling me about this story about this dude who's like, dude, I had a monster on for sure between 6 and 12 pounds. Like, what? Like, that's 2 fish in one, man. Like,
yeah.
But anyways, like,
so anyway, it was
easy over 10.
It was over 10 for sure.
What does your heart tell you that fish was?
I thought it was 13.
Oh.
Oliver shot me down, said there's no 13s in there. So I'm gonna go with 12.9.
All right.
12.9.
All right.
It was a 12.9. It was a 12.9. Which, in my book, anything big is big. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the weight.
8-pounder is big.
8-pounder is big.
Yeah. If you had never seen an 8-pounder before,
if you get it in the boat and you're like, dude, look what I just caught. This is big.
It's definitely
that's big.
Yeah.
That's good. Hooray! Like that's job done. Like it's big.
Yeah.
I don't even scale some most of the time unless I like think it's gonna be like legit. Like
you have to scale it.
I have to scale it. Then
if it's over 7, because I've weighed some like 8-pounders and been like, holy crap! Like that squeaked past 10. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
It depends what they're eating, right?
Yeah.
Their density.
Yeah.
Remember those clear lake fish? You ever notice like they're just like heavy?
Yeah.
Like this is 4 pounds.
Their tails are fat.
Yeah, it looks like a 2.5 pounder. How's this thing 4 pounds? Mm-hmm. And you know, in our world, it's all dictated by weight, right? Which is interesting because if you go into like different parts of the world, like Japan, it's been predicated by length. Other fishing cultures, muskies, barramundi, murray cod, pike, length, because it's weight. Weight can be like a regional thing. Like we have the perfect blend of conditions on the West Coast. Lets these fish maximize their Florida strain growth potential, but cold enough to like keep them from like becoming the big windsocks like you see at Diamond in the summer or throughout Texas most of the time or Florida. You notice those are big frame fish. And that's where I was getting frustrated. Dude, I was catching like 28, 29, 30-inch bass in Texas, and they were like 7, 8, 9 pounds. I'm like, what the heck? They just didn't have the girth.
Yeah.
All right, so like in context and perspective, like is that 29-inch 9-pounder a big fish?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
But because of the way that our bass fishing culture as a whole, you know, measures what is a big one, like it gets shot down. It's only a 9. It's like, man, I wish people would just celebrate that. Dude, that's a 29-inch skinny ass big 9-pounder.
And if you think about it, the longer the fish is, well, I had a theory one time, the longer the fish is, the older it is. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but that's in my mind, so the older the fish is, the smarter it is. So the longer it is, the harder it is to catch. Not per se. You catch one that's only 23 inches and like 10 pounds. Yeah, he's dumb, dude. He eats so much and just sits there. Those big, like old ones are like, those ones are really hard to catch.
So that's why you were laid out on the ground for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Because the context of it. You did this on a very highly pressured public lake that people struggle to catch a fish on.
Yeah.
Highly educated. You put in all that body of work to give yourself that opportunity. You got your shot,
Yeah.
hooked up, right? And it happens like that,
Yep.
right? Like in a flash. And almost before you can't think about anything, because if you're thinking, you're too slow.
Yeah.
Like you have to like go into action and rely on your muscle memory. This is where that gut feeling, it becomes important, and being able to draw on those experiences to build that gut feeling, to act in the moment and rely on instincts that you've been building on. Like that's everything, man.
Totally.
Brutal. That's why, like, being able to catch a double-digit fish in Southern California is way more impressive to me than going to like, and I know the guys love doing it, but like going down to Mexico and fishing bodies of water like El Salto and Baccarat. It's not the same thing. Because I know dudes that go down there that whack these big fish, and I understand like every fishery can get tough, right? But they whack multiple double digits in a day, never transfer it to home.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be one thing if you're like, oh, you use those opportunities to learn how to apply to, conditioned fisheries, but I haven't really seen that be the case.
Yeah.
It's, I'm sure it's fun as hell,
Absolutely, yeah.
right?
Sounds
Like,
fun,
yeah. But you can't like, there is like an asterisk, right? Oh, what's your biggest one? Like, oh, it's 12 out of blah, blah, blah in Mexico. Like, oh, what's your biggest at home? 7.
Yeah.
How many of those do you have? Oh, like 1.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. That seems to be the consistent pattern. So once again, I'm not knocking anybody that spends their time and their money and wants to go down there and have a blast, because that looks like a blast. But just understand, it's not the same thing when it comes to the context of it all. At least in my opinion. So, what do you think?
I think same thing, yeah. I think the smaller the lake, the harder it is, and the more pressure, the harder.
For sure.
So there's some lakes where like you catch a 5 on that lake, like, dude, you caught a 5-pounder out of that lake? Like,
Right,
you know what I mean?
Back to context.
Context, yeah,
Right, like
exactly.
especially the boys in the Northeast. Shout out to all you guys all the way from like Connecticut, New York, and Jersey, all the way up into Boston and even Maine. Like when you guys are catching 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pounders on occasion in that part of the country, it's like, you did what?
You caught the biggest fish in the lake.
Like that's it.
That's badass.
Man.
Yeah.
They always like come at me with these conversations. Like, oh man, I know it's not like a California bass, but like, dude, I caught a 6. I'm like, bro, you caught a 6 in freaking New York. Like,
Yeah.
that's an accomplishment, man. Like, bravo. Feel proud about that. Like, it's not about just like 15s, 16s, and 17s, but like understand the context of it. I don't know. I think that's something that people miss,
Yeah.
especially the new guys to the blood. I'm not talking about just young kids. I'm just talking about just new blood. 'Cause it's cool. It's seeing fishing grow is important.
Absolutely.
And got quite a bit of hands up at my last seminars in Rockland, New York. Like, hey, how many guys have been fishing 5 years or less? Like, dude, it was like 2/3 of the crowd. 3 years or less, like a lot of hands still up. 1 year or less, like half. And I'm just like, damn, like that's cool.
Yeah.
And like you'll see from this show that we're going to, the Bassmaster Classic Expo, man, like if you have a passion for fishing to the point where you're trying to like have it contribute to your livelihood in any semblance, you need to understand that the growth of the sport is important.
Yeah.
And anyways, what else are you into?
I like
Besides fishing.
surfing. I like surfing a lot. Skateboarding, photography,
Okay.
music. I have a degree in music.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I would have never guessed
Yeah.
that. That's sick.
I went to a school up in LA, studied like keyboards. 'Cause my dad is a keyboard
Okay.
player, yeah. So I'm like super into music,
Super
punk rock,
sick.
like surf rock, all types of like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I surf a lot. I broke a rib like surfing a couple weeks ago on my birthday,
Oh,
which
recently?
sucked. Yeah.
How's that affected your fishing?
Oh, it's horrible. I fished a tournament like a couple of days afterwards. How we were talking about it at El Cap.
Oh yeah.
And my buddy that I'm fishing the tournament with, he's like, come on, man, like, don't be a baby, like. And I'm like, dude, I legit like broke my rib, and we're fishing jigs, and like, you get bit on a jig, you gotta set the hook, like, that's what you do, you know what I mean? So about like 10 false hook sets into the day, because I'd get short bit and I'd set the hook and it would be there, like, my ribs are killing me. I eventually had to step down to a spinning rod, and see, I'm not scared of it though, like, dude, I'll do it.
I ain't scared.
Picked up an Enforcer, which is like a heavy action like spinning rod, and with 12 pound on it, tied on a jig, and fished the rest of the day like setting the hook with my reel and going like this so I wouldn't like hurt my ribs, because it hurts so bad. But yeah, that was the most recent thing. But
Well, I can tell you're passionate about those other things, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about the fishing? I feel like that's your thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's the vibe I get from following you on your social and stuff. Like, fishing is special to you.
Fishing is an art, man. It's like, it's not just.
Elaborate
fishing.
on that.
Yeah, fishing is like,
it's like music is an art, surfing is an art, fishing is an art. It's not like it's so elaborate. You can never. 5 years ago, I was a good fisherman. 5 years go by, I'm like 5 years better. Like, you know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, like it's crazy. You can think you're good, and then from 5 years from now, I'm 5 times better than I was 5 years ago. It's all about like, there's so many different factors to it, and there's so many like things you can learn.
That's so
and it's always changing. And as soon as you think you have it, okay, go to a new lake and try to do it. And you're like,
humble pie, right? See, and I think it's important that people from outside of Southern California understand the context of what he's saying, because we were having a discussion earlier of like, when you travel outside of LA and SoCal and Orange County, San Diego, like, your options to do things are limited to going to Walmart in some cities and TPing people's houses, right?
Yeah.
And we have the luxury of like doing whatever you're into. We have that option, and we still choose fishing. I think that says a lot. Like, you could do all these other things.
we are the minority in Southern California.
And we are, but I think it's growing still, right?
Yeah.
Fishing is definitely trending up. You see people rocking fishing brands, whether it's Bass Pro Shops or Salty Crew or whatever. Like, oh, man, you like to fish? Because back in the day, like, that automatically meant to some.
That's why you wore
degree,
it. You're like,
you were wearing
hey,
it.
dude,
Now
like,
it's just like the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the new John Deere hat, right?
Yeah.
It's like whatever. Like, do you farm? Like, do you got a tractor? Like, nah, man. But that's what everybody else is doing, so I'm doing the same thing. So yeah, it's an interesting time, because we're starting to see that, right? Like, you guys starting to see, like, I get to hang out with some dope people, like good-looking young women that actually see fishing. Like, oh man, that looks like fun. Like, friends of mine that never had any interest, like, hey man,
it's opening new worlds.
that looks like fun. Like, fool, you do so many other dope things with me. Like, you would think I'd be into something lame. Like,
Yeah. It's cool.
it's
fun.
so fun
It is
if you're
really
doing
fun.
it right.
Yeah.
Maybe some people aren't doing it right. I could see the frustration there sitting in, but it can be one of the most fulfilling activities
Oh, absolutely.
out of the entire list for me, because I think, like you said, it's an ever-changing puzzle, and just when you think you got it figured out, man, like, ooh.
Yeah.
But it's an ever-changing puzzle, and you have to always have to realize what you're getting out of each day that you're there. Like, yeah, you might not catch a 10-pounder every day, you might not catch fish every day, but you're learning things, and you're surrounded by amazing things. Like, you're in nature, so you're like on the water. Like, it could be way worse. So that's why fishing is pretty cool. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, fishing sucked, but hey, you're on the lake all day at least, you know.
I think early on in my career, it was always about the fish, right? Like, that predicated my success for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to catch them. And now that I've got so many days on the water under my belt, like, dude, it's really not even about that anymore. It's so much more than that. And it's understanding that the fish is still the driving force, but it's not the end all. Like, I've got to experience, like, helping a lot of people, friends, close friends, clients that became friends, into, like, realizing, like, as corny as it sounds, like, they're big bass streams, man. And, like, to see them have a experience that I can relate to so many times, and, like, seeing it fresh again has kept me, like, reinvigorated. It keeps me going. Like, it's a cool thing. Like imagine like the first time you caught a really big bass,
Oh, so stoked.
right? Like the stoke level
Yeah.
is potentially off the chart. Like it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. So I got to actually go to the Fred Hall show for a couple hours last night, and I just had to squeeze it in because I understood like it's a rare opportunity for me to connect with special people, and I feel like there's a weird avoidance by the guys that are coming up underneath me to show respect to the ones that came before them. What do you think? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
like I got to see Doc Holliday in all his Spider-Man shirt, like glory. Only one man could pull that off, so big shout out to Doc Holliday. I got to rap with Bobby Barrick.
Oh, he's rad.
I mean, he's one of the guys known for bringing like the frog fishing thing into the West Coast.
I fished with him one time.
Really? Dude, Bobby's rad. I see it. You got one up on me. I've never actually got to fish with Bobby.
He didn't want to fish with me. I mean, it shows. I was in a tournament and I was his co-angler, but I watched him.
Intense, huh?
Yeah,
I heard he's intense, man.
dude, he lost. He said it was 13 on a frog that day in a tournament,
On the Delta?
and I watched it bite it, dude. It was terrifying. I was like,
Terrifying.
it was terrifying on the Delta. Yeah, he sets up, casts in there, and he's working it out, and I'm in the back. I have no idea what's going on, like why we're at this spot, but he's like picking apart this area, and I'm like, dude, the Delta's pretty big, like, and I trust him, like the guy there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just boom, and I'm like, he's like, get the net, and I'm like,
What did he really say? Because I know that's not what he said.
Yeah.
Drop it on us. What was it?
dude, it's been a minute. I was probably like 16 years old or something like that.
So you were a kid.
I was a kid, yeah.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And he's like, he tells me to get the net, and his boat is like, I'm like, my shit's everywhere. I throw my like rod down, and I go up there, and I'm like standing, and it's coming at me, and he's like, it's coming right at you, and I'm like, okay, like this. It comes up like 10 feet away from the boat and jumps, and the hook comes out. And he cried. I'm like, as I can remember, he got down and he was just like, he did the same exact thing I did when I lost my big one, dude. He just laid on the deck of the boat, and I was like, he's like, dude, that was 13-pounder. I was like,
That's a hell of a story, man.
It was crazy.
But see, I got to see Bobby. He moved to Texas now, so he's not even on the West Coast anymore. And then he's running the bass tank, you know, all the seminars at Fred Hall's show. And on the tank is Don Ivino. And dude, for me, like that was a huge influence in the 90s. Like he was the dude in Southern California. Finesse fishing, kids don't even know what doodling is. She was talking about split shotting on the tank, and I was watching the crowd. Dude, everybody's like, what?
He lost him right there.
Yeah, he lost him at split shotting. I'm like, dang, this is wild.
Yeah.
These guys don't even know like how like the wealth of knowledge that these older guys represent. Like just because they don't have like 20,000 followers or whatever on whatever platform, like it makes them like obsolete, and it's like, yo, you guys are tripping, because these dudes have figured stuff out and forgotten about more of that stuff than we've ever learned.
Exactly.
So I thought it was important for me to go down there, pay my respects to them, and honestly, I want to do a better job of being able to actually capture those guys in their essence, right? And just all their raw passion. Because back then, like outside of maybe a magazine or Western Art Near newspaper like cover, like they weren't getting there's no fame.
Yeah.
There are no Instagram groupies for these dudes, right? There's no paid endorsements. There's none of that. They did it for the passion. And I got to see those three guys. So anyways, who are your biggest influences coming up?
growing up,
Like if you could
I
pick
watched like,
2 or 3 guys that you could go back and fish with, alive or dead,
Yeah.
be like, man, I would really like to go fish with that guy.
I watched Butch a lot. I mean, when I was getting into it, like his rigging videos and stuff, like back in the day, like I remember I watched him like countless times, just
Yeah.
like, cause I'd forget it and then I'd watch it,
Okay.
forget it and watch it, and like he was smashing him.
Dude, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Right. Videotaping everything to capture the content, inspire, like so many people. I hear so many people talk about Butch as a positive influence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shout out to Butch.
Shout out to Butch for sure.
Sure, he was like big influence for me. And yeah, he made me start fishing at that lake too. I was like, we got to go there. I went there on my birthday, didn't catch anything, didn't see anything. I was like, I got to get better then, huh? That was a long time ago, but yeah, Butch. It's tough to say. I watched like the tournament series a lot, so I liked
like
a lot
the
of
national
those.
stuff?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
I like watching those guys a bunch.
Who's your number one guy?
Takahiro.
Who
I
you-
like
okay.
Takahiro a lot.
Dude, that Bassmaster Classic one of his is all time. I'm sorry.
Takahiro. I've always been into like the
Japanese guys.
Okay.
I like the way they fish, man. So I was just like
They're just an
Takahiro.
extra level of passion, right?
Yeah.
And they wear their heart on the sleeves.
Yeah.
Like,
I knew it.
dude. Yeah, we got to get talk on the boat
Yeah.
one day.
One day. I still look up to him. He's crazy, dude.
That's dope, man. You gotta have such big balls to leave your home country
I know.
and just go for it,
Same
man.
with Jochimson. I came from
Oz over
Yeah.
here, and now he's killing it. And like, it's just crazy, dude. I want to see more people doing that, like from all around the country.
For
Make it
sure.
like a national sport, you know, like
Yeah.
worldwide.
But I think it's definitely getting there. I mean, you got guys coming from South Africa, Europe now. That's definitely the pinnacle. And I think people sleep on the importance of the tournament trail, right? Once again, it comes down to context, right? Those guys have everything on the line. Like everything.
Oh yeah, their
Their
whole life.
financial
Yeah.
resources, their relationships are on a string. Like they're in it to chase their dream of like being the best in a competitive sport of bass fishing. So you should pay attention to what those guys are doing because like there's no fluff there, or there's
It's all real, dude.
there's less fluff there. But you know, there's a sense of realness that's 100%.
Real enough to drive across the country, dude. Like, you're committed. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so the stakes are at the highest. Those guys have been a hotbed of innovation and thinking outside the box and being innovative, right? Because you need every advantage you get. And it gets pushed a little far, things get a little convoluted, right? It becomes like, oh, I want to thank my cell phone for giving me service. That's the reason why I won this classic event or whatever it is. Like, it's like, all right, dude, come on, like,
Yeah.
no one cares who your oil sponsor is, or like, I get it. Like you think you need to say that to appease the sponsors, but you're actually doing yourself a disservice because you're disconnecting from your audience in that moment. Right? And I think now people are hipper to that.
oh, totally,
So like you don't want to be the hard sell guy.
totally.
Just
That's where-
let the fish speak for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, especially at that level, it comes down to the fish. Are you catching them or not?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. I'm glad that you said that you had like a local trophy hunter and like a national, level like influence. Like those are all important.
And I think the one thing is the surf industry is like it's different than the fishing industry. Like the surfers, they don't push their brands like as hard as like you're saying. How they like, it's not about like pushing it. Like if people like you, then they'll be interested in what you're using. You don't have to.
Totally.
You don't have to push it out there like so much. And like, I think that's why I wanted to start filming more fishing
Okay.
to make fishing videos be more like surfing videos.
Right.
Like you watch a surf video and it's badass because it's like a journey through like trips to here, there, and here and there, and it's like music the whole time. Like these guys are surfing, they're doing their thing, whatever, surfing. But there could be sick to have like fishing videos in the same way, where it's like just like going from Texas to here to there to I'm catching a muskie here, and then I'm
catching like.
Nobody wants to see any of that.
yeah, come on, like I don't know, it's just something. It would be something to like before you go fishing, like you're like the night before, like you want to watch like a fish video, so you like get pumped to go fishing the next day. I want to like start making stuff like
Oh,
that.
good. I was actually just asking Parker, like, man, like, have you been doing much video stuff? Because I saw some stuff early, and it seemed like he had gotten away from it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're still open to exploring that.
That's my idea behind it. I just need
Alright.
to I just need to start doing it more.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, man.
But it's hard to video yourself. I wish I had like a group of guys, that way I could be like, yeah, I'll just film for the next couple hours, you know. But it's like,
Trust me,
I'm not just gonna be like,
whole nother set of problems come involved with
yeah,
that.
it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. You got a nickname?
Pakkaa.
Yeah, tell us about that. Because every time I read like your handle,
Yeah.
I like read it to myself in like a Jersey accent
Yeah.
for some reason. But like
So-
tell me about your nickname.
I don't know. Like my friends in high school always called me that, and like I didn't come up with it. They just like called me that. And I looked back one day at like my Instagram handle, and I was like, when did I come up with that? And it said you hadn't changed your name since like I made my account. So like I guess I just like came up with it when I made my account
Okay.
like a million years ago, and then it's just ever been. And I'm just like, I'm leaving it. You know, it is what it is now. I'll just leave it.
So was it a self-title, or your
No.
boys gave it to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a true nickname.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how these guys think they can get away with giving themselves a self-appointed nickname.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's not how that works.
No, absolutely. No,
Like
my
they
friend-
gave me my homies in junior high called me Junebug. I'm like, Junebug? Yeah, well your forehead is huge. I'm like, man, that's cold-blooded. But they weren't wrong.
Yeah.
Like I had a giant forehead at the time. I hadn't grown into it yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, there's almost like, what's a term I wanna use here? It's almost like a term of endearment, right? Like it usually comes from like a place of getting your balls busted by your boys, right? So you wear it with like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. My buddies in high school, Bo, was like the one that said it the most, like Pakkaa, and then he'd make fun of my laugh and be like, like, F- you, Bo.
So it is pronounced
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where I got
Well, it's like
that.
it's like half like Australian, Japanese, and New Jersey. Like they just cut out certain letters, and then it just becomes what it is.
So funny, man. That's classic. Now, I think you suffer from the same scenario or circumstance that I suffer from, and it's not a bad thing. But people may look at you and assume you're younger than you are,
Yeah.
right? Which is good. Write it out, dude. Eventually, that's gonna fizzle out completely. But if you were able to actually go back in time and give a younger version of Pakkaa
Yeah.
one piece of advice, man, what would it be?
Never give up.
Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
Brad.
Shout out to Mike. Never give up. Chase your dream. Shout out to you.
Oh, man. I just need another drink. I don't know about you. But we got a flight.
We got a flight in like, it's 2 o'clock.
Oh, we got some time. We got some time.
We got some times.
So I think you're kind of on that threshold of the generation that may have had to live life without social media of some kind,
Oh yeah, for a long time.
right?
Yeah.
So you remember MySpace?
Mhm.
Did you remember Friendster?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Napster.
Man.
Sure you got the music at.
What was it, Morpheus before?
Yeah. I don't know before that. Napster was like my first one.
Yeah,
It wasn't even on.
When you're scared to download a song, right? Like, oh, dude, I'm gonna get hit with like a freaking lawsuit or
Yeah.
something.
And it's not even my computer, it's like my older brother's computer. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. Then you got some perspective. Now, you've seen it before, what it is now. You know, you got Instagram is obviously big, Facebook big with certain communities, usually older people. YouTube is huge now.
Yeah.
And now we got TikTok, and who knows what the next thing will be. Do you think the fishing culture, and let's talk about Southern California specifically, was better before or after?
That's
Hard. It's like there's a lot of information out there now, and it's really easy to get trapped in it too, though. Also, you know, like you can get trapped in. Some guys might be throwing you throwing you through the loop. You have no idea. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was better or worse. I remember I was fishing before I even ever posted a fish online. Well, there was like couple like fishing apps back in the day, and I can't remember what they were called, but like it was like the Instagram, but just for fishing.
See, like I grew up in that little small online community of cow fishing, and you had the option.
Or something, or?
It was just a forum.
Oh, forum. Yeah.
But you had the option of uploading a personal gallery.
Yeah.
So that's where we uploaded our photos back in the day.
Yeah, I remember those. There was one for Castaic, too.
Okay, yeah. Like
And I'd always,
Fishing
like,
was big back then.
Read up on them, like, oh yeah, I caught 2 today. It was pretty tough, and I'm back. Yeah, I'll go tomorrow. So yeah, it's definitely less information.
So what do you like about the way it is now?
It's cool to share what you do, and like people like to see it, and like I like to see other people's stuff. I don't like to see other people's stuff. I like to see certain people's stuff. So it's a way to like where you can make what you want to see exactly what you see.
You customize your feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
What did you like about before?
Secrets and being able to keep stuff to yourself.
Keeping that info tight.
Yeah, keeping info tight. And
there's an interesting shift in the culture, especially with like when people engage with me. Sometimes I get this weird like vibe that I owe somebody I've never met before, like all the hard-earned info that I've sacrificed or whatever. In some way, right? Like why do you feel entitled to the point where like you feel like I should be giving you like all the goods for nothing?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you weren't in the gym shooting with me, right? Like, you weren't on the water, freaking suffering through that rainstorm.
I know.
Like, you weren't there to help me change out my busted trailer tire.
But I have to tell you all this stuff?
It's mind-blowing to me. That's one of the things I don't like about the new age. Is like there's no appreciation for that information, especially with the guys that are willing to share it. So anybody new, please be mindful. Ask the questions, ask the right questions, but always be appreciative of it, man. Like I know so many dudes that are going out of their way, taking time out of their day to get back to you guys and answer you. Like they don't owe you nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody owes me anything. Like it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, you can't expect that. Yeah, you gotta know where you stand.
Right. Huh, interesting perspectives, man. That's cool. Thus far, what are you the most proud of as far as it pertains to you as a fisherman and your fishing career?
I'm proud that I have my boat.
Okay.
I'm proud that I
Talk about that.
finally got the chance to get my own boat because I grew up like shore fishing, spending $50 on rental boats every time, and like, dude like float tubing,
struggle.
like a tin boat, like fishing off the shore, you lose 1 million lures, like. So that I had a sick car, like I was stoked on it. I was working in LA, bought a Subaru WRX.
Okay.
Super fun.
Man, I used to get jumped on like 3 car lengths right off the freaking line.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the?
Those things are fast.
But I'd
dude.
catch you.
Yeah.
But right off the jump, like that 4-wheel drive.
But that's when you just slow down. Dude. You're just like, oh, what? The race is already over, dude. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I sold that. I had to sell it. It was really sad, and proud of that. And yeah, I'm stoked to have my own boat because I was fishing co-angler, and I like doing the co-angler thing, but kind of got old not being able to make your own decisions.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like I had some good finishes, made it to the FLW championship, and I was like, okay, this is rad and all, but like, what's the next step? Like,
Right.
and then the next step is getting a boat and then starting. I don't want to jump. Like I've never been the guy to like jump ahead of myself. So
Okay. You've embraced the process.
yes, so it's one step at a time. Like I don't want to just like say I'm the best and I'm gonna spend $1 million to do like a tournament trail that I'm not cut out for.
Totally.
So from co-angling to now like local derbies, I've had some success and had some good seasons, but I'm still waiting for like some type of a break where I make a big win. Like I step it up one more level, get a big win, and then step it up one more level, and like not taking that step until like it tells me to. So like, so I want to keep going and hopefully win like a WAN Bass event or something like that, like a little bit upgrade and like get some money under my belt and then keep investing it into fishing.
Sick. So those of you guys that aren't familiar with the West Coast tournament culture, One Bass holds probably 3 of the biggest tournaments west of the Rockies, right? Biggest being the U.S. Open. Then they got the Arizona Open they added the last couple years on Havasu. You got Cal Open on Clear Lake. And then other than that, you've got some FLW Pro-Ams, right? What are they now? They used to be the Costas, they used to be the Rayovac Series.
I want to
Whoever
say
their
it's still
sponsor,
Costa,
okay, whoever their sponsor is.
not positive.
But there's no Bassmaster Opens, right? There's no MLF events. There's none of that. So the One Bass kind of represents the top tier on the West Coast specifically.
Yep.
So where are you at now? Like what?
So I entered my first Juan Bass event last month, the February Arizona Open.
Okay. So that was your
And,
first
yeah.
step into that.
First step
that
in.
level. Okay.
It's a big step. It's like $1,000 entry.
Dude,
like
that's just
a
the
week
entry.
off work.
So opportunity cost if you're
Yeah.
not making money,
Exactly. Yeah.
spending money,
Spending money.
fuel,
You gotta buy baits.
hotel,
Yeah.
gotta buy baits.
Yeah. I almost died. Like legit.
Eh.
It was windy, and that like it's
Dude,
like
it gets scary.
gets scary windy.
You know, I hate to bring this up, but it sounds like we lost one of our local Southern California anglers on one of our home lakes this weekend, right? And it's tragic, man. So just a reminder, just be safe out there and just be mindful of your situations and just be situation aware and don't risk it.
Don't risk it. Don't
Dude,
put yourself in that.
I found myself in Green Bay, Lake Michigan, trying to catch a big muskie. I'm getting blown out every day. And dude, I'm trying to get out there in the window for like 2 hours when it's not blowing as heavy. Dude, it's like 3 to 5 foot rollers. In a bass boat,
That's huge.
dude, that's scary. And then like I'm trying to figure eight in the dark. Cause like, dude, I'm talking world-class muskies, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I got seasick and I'm like, dude, I'm out here in the dark by myself and I got my PDF on still. But like, so what if I got my PDF on? I'm like 3 miles off the shoreline.
Done.
Like I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I'm out. Like I'm going in. It's just not worth it.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, but yeah, back to Havasu.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like you said, windy.
And it was like the last day of practice, and another one died.
Batteries.
Last day of practice, it's blowing, and I was trying to eke out every minute of practice that I had. So I'm at one end of the lake where the wind's starting from, and I launched at the other end of the lake where the wind's going. So the waves are getting bigger as I'm going back in, and I know it's getting windy, and I'm like, my boat isn't big, you know, it's a 17.6 Ranger.
Damn, you fished Havasu out of a 17?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
and
what's up, man.
yeah, so I'm going back
Can't
in.
teach chart, bro. That's
I'm the only boat on the lake at this point. Like, most guys didn't even go out. Other guys are fishing the river and stuff, and
In the
maybe
harbor, by
down
the
south. Yeah,
bridge.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going main basin, like across the main basin, and it's like victory at sea out there. And I'm like, dude, like. So I like slow down. At this point, I'm going 5 miles per hour, like with the rollers, just like, oh god. And a bass boat comes in and he like goes past me and he's like, hey, like, do you want to? I'll cut the waves for you. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like,
Damn,
get
that
in
was
behind.
nice of him.
So nice of him,
Dude.
He's in a 21-foot skeeter.
He's getting beat too.
He's getting beat too, but like, dude, I can't keep up with that. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
heck
so
no.
I'm falling behind him. I'm like, yeah, come on, like this. And all of a sudden, he starts going like faster, and like, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm dust. Like, I'm back here. Like, I can't go that fast. And he doesn't notice that I got stuck behind. He leaves. I call because I thought it was my friend. I'm like, hey, were you just in the main basin? And he's like, no, I'm up the river. And I was like, oh, like, I thought you just like cut the waves for me. I was wondering if you could come back. And he's like, no, do you need me to come down there? And I'm like, no, I'll be all right. Like, and he's like, all right, well, call me if you need anything. I'm like, okay, cool. Hang up. 2 minutes later, I take a 2 over the bow, and
Instantly like 100 gallons of water in the boat, right?
I'm sitting and it's up to my belly.
Dude, that's so sketch.
and my wallet's floating next to me, and I'm in the middle of the lake, and I've got like 5 layers of clothes on. I don't have my life jacket on. Or wait, I did, but like, still.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like if the boat sinks right here, like I've got boots on, I've got 3 layers of pants, like 5 jackets, like I'm gonna sink, dude. Like,
That's wild.
and I swim, like I still don't think I would have been able to make it. Like,
People have an underappreciation for the power of Mother Nature at times, man. You gotta respect her.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was scary, but
I was paying dues, man. All right, because that
Exactly,
experience is gonna build to your next event.
exactly. Yeah.
Like everything's the learning opportunity. So it's cool. I'm excited to follow your journey.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Where do you want to see yourself at the end of the day, man?
Classics, huh?
Get out of
I
here.
want to get to the classics.
You want to get to the Bassmaster Classic?
Yeah, that's the steps. Like one bass, fish the opens, fish the Bassmaster.
When do you think? What year do you think you can take a crack at fishing the opens?
I don't even know.
Do you have like?
Could be next year. Could be.
Okay.
Could be 2 years from now.
All right.
It depends on what happens. I don't know. Like
Brad.
I don't know where it'll take me, but I'm leaving it open. Like I'm gonna go as hard as I can, make it happen as fast as I can. But let's see. I don't know. Let's see how long it takes. But yeah, it'd be awesome to fish the Classic,
Sick.
fish the Bassmaster.
With that, and then let's say you win it,
Yeah.
and then
Dude.
what?
Keep doing it. Win it
Do it
again.
again.
Yeah, do it
Okay.
again.
Brad, man.
Do it again.
Well, at the end of the day, when we're in the final chapter of Pakka's, biography or autobiography, whatever it ends up being, like, what do you want your legacy to be in fishing culture?
I want to. I don't know. I just want guys to be like, oh, he was cool, like a nice guy. Like I'm a nice guy. I don't know. I want to have like interesting approaches to things and be known as just something that anybody can relate to, kind of
Okay.
guy.
Yeah.
Not like a specific niche, like.
So you're
I also
telling
wanna
me
teach people, like,
only
I wanna,
surfer,
No.
swimmer, bass fisherman
Yeah.
out of Orange County can relate to you, right?
Yeah, I don't
Like,
want to be that.
nah.
I want to relate to everybody, and I want to teach people though too. Like, I've taught my girlfriend how to fish. I taught like
Sick.
I fished with this guy named Mikey from Australia. He's like a pro surfer,
Okay.
and he was into fishing before, but I taught
Fishing's
him a
big
lot.
down there.
Yeah, I've taught him a lot about bass fishing, and like teaching people is like super fun. Like, it's equally as satisfying for me to watch
Yeah.
somebody in my boat catch a big one as it is for me to catch that fish.
That's
Like,
cool to hear, man.
they're always saying like, "Hey, fish." I'm like, "No, dude. Like, I want you to
Yeah.
catch it." Like,
I did the same yesterday.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, except when I saw the big one.
It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, but she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool, man. It's interesting because I didn't really see myself like finding such enjoyment, right, and fulfillment in enabling somebody else to do the same things that we do as fishermen. So it's cool to hear that there are other people that are going on this arc
Yeah.
of growing. And it's just growing as a human being.
And you want to share it with them.
Yeah, it becomes less about like me, because I was hyper focused, right, on like catching them, becoming better, and that never ends. But now you also see like, oh man, there's more to this than that. So, well, cool, brother. Appreciate your time.
For real, dog.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, follow this man on the gram. I think that's your biggest platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Pretty much only.
yeah, Pakkaa.
Yeah.
Is it P-double-A or P-A-K-double-K? What is it?
Pakkaa.
Oh,
Single
okay.
A, double K, double A.
All right, we're going to put that right here for you guys. Make it easy, all right? And yeah, if you guys come to the Classic, man, come through, hang out with us. I don't know if I'll be able to get this up before then, but I'll try. But if not, yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Right on.
It's in my jeans, no yo denim. Some people try to rock it, but the clothes don't fit them. Pool full of sharks, tell them don't go swimming. Let them bask in the glory of the flow